else did I was going to show you the factories. Teleport for the win. So this is one of the factory sites that is designated but hasn't been built yet. This one being National Gypsum Construction, which is a factory that will produce plasterboards and everything. The squares on the ground represent the products you have to deliver before the factory can be built. I'm not sure if you can see it in the overlay. Yes, you can see it. The inputs that need to be fulfilled before it can start building. And for this one being resin, chipboard, planks, and boards. I think boards and planks don't really require anything special other than the factories to produce them, and then those will need to be provided with the needed raw material, being a sawmill first to change logs into, I think, boards is the first one, and then you deliver boards to another factory to make it into planks, and then you use wood chips, probably with resin, to create chipboards, and the resin is a byproduct from the sawmill as well. So in the previous video with the farm tour, you saw a lot of pellets. They are way back over there from the trees that were cut down to merge the fields, and I have some board pellets as well as resin already there. So I could fulfill the resin requirement as well as the boards, but I still have to produce the planks and the chipboards. When that's done, the factory here will be built, at which point it can start producing, in this case, plasterboards, as soon as we fulfill its requirements for raw material, of course. For the sawmill being logs and coal. I don't know all the requirements yet for the gypsum, but for instance, this one over here is 3M. Oh, this one doesn't require chipboards, so I'm going to assume that you need to build this one first, and that one of the products that this factory makes, probably glue, will be used to produce the chipboards that you need to build the gypsum factory. So that is one process tree, or the start of one process tree. There are more. I'm going to show you a factory that has a lot of products. This one has a lot, for instance, that are required to build. So you see concrete, steel, barrier, blocks, nails, pavers, pipe, drywall, boards, rebar. So I'm going to need at least the steel factory, the concrete factory, the gypsum. Those will all be requirements that need to be built before we actually have the materials to build this one. And this one is PV construction. I'm not entirely sure what will be made here. But one that will probably need almost all materials that can be produced is at the other factory sites, which is the one over here. Oh no, it has the same requirements. Oh, epoxy is also here, needed here. Planters construction. No idea what it is. It'll be a surprise when we build it. Another factory is the industrial bakery. Same here. All those products need to be delivered here before you can start building the bakery. And well, I guess you get the idea by now. We will have to do the factories in a certain order before we can come to the final results. Yes, same here. Then we also have the orchards, which are up here. The orchards were also edited by the mod creator. As you can see, he used the same squares. They work in a similar way as the greenhouses, but here you will need compost, fertilizer, lime, herbicide, pellets, and water to start producing the fruit crops. And I think it's the same requirements as for the greenhouses. Now I have to check where the... As you can see, we need pallets for these, as well as water, compost, fertilizer, lime, and herbicide, which is the same as for the orchards. It's slightly different from the greenhouses that were in the base game in Farming Simulator 17, where you needed only compost, no, not even compost. I think it was just manure and seeds and water to run them. So here you don't need seeds, but you do need herbicide and lime and fertilizer and compost. So in the end, it's still a few more products that you need before you can use the greenhouses or the orchards. I can't tell you much about the animals because I haven't checked them yet on this map. I do know that there are more animals, but since I don't have any animals yet, I will have to discover everything myself. But I know there are more animals here than there are in the base game, so I covered this in the farm tour. So we have donkeys and goats and ducks and that kind of, and you get different products from those as well. I have noticed that there is a fill type cashmere, so maybe that's a product that comes from the goats. There's also down, which you get from the ducks, and I'm going to assume that they will also be used for, um, well, poultry, for food. There is a dog kennel. Don't ask me what the purpose is of the dog kennel. I hope they don't use that for meat. Don't think the creator is Chinese, so or or Asian. Sorry if I offended somebody with that, but it was just a joke. So what else did I have to tell you about this map? Oh yeah, I'm going to give you an explanation as to why the landscape is so seems so barren. There are hardly any trees. The reason for that is that because I cut a lot of trees with the Brooks mod, which both chips cuts the trees and chips it directly into a trailer. If you have a trailer behind the tractor, so you put the Brooks in the front loader, no, the front, yeah, front loader of the tractor, and then front lift, yes, and then the trailer in the back, and you can blow the wood chips directly into the trailer, and then you can also use it as a stump grinder as well. So you have one implement that can get rid of the tree completely, which I did for every tree that was in the way to enlarge the fields. But there were 3 trees that I couldn't get rid of. For some reason, the wood chipper couldn't grind the stumps away. So I thought, well, I will just go and delete those 3 trees from the Giants editor, which I did. And all of a sudden, all the trees were back again. I'm going to assume that it reset the file where the tree positions are saved in the save game. It probably reset that file and all the trees were back again, and I couldn't really be bothered to start grinding them again. Also because I couldn't reach a lot of them because I changed the terrain editing, made it impossible to reach some trees or many trees. So I was like, okay, what I'm going to do now. So I opened the Giants editor again and I deleted a lot of the trees. The trees were grouped by region of the map. So because it's such a large map, the editor doesn't work really smoothly. And because there were so many trees, I wasn't going to select them individually and then delete it and then select another one and delete it. So I selected the region and deleted it. Unfortunately, they were grouped into fairly large regions, and that's why there are not too many trees left. There are 2 sites for forestries. Those obviously still have their trees. And then the island in the middle of the map, the island with the volcano, still has its trees, as well as the, at least I think, the, how do you call this, the camper park still has its trees, I think. I'll quickly go check there. Yeah, you can see here the camper park still has its trees. But in the city there are barely, I don't think there are any tree left. Not sure where there were trees. I know there used to be trees around the shop over here and everything, but they're all gone. I'm sorry for that. I just put in too much work to make it a little bit presentable, and then to have it all gone, that was really annoying. I also edited the prices a bit after doing a full sale of the crops that were in the silo from previous harvest. I noticed that I had just too much money. I had, I think, 17 million euros from selling just what was in the silo. And I thought, well, that's not really realistic. I mean, like I can just go buy almost every machine that I want. So I downloaded the sell point, placeable sell point. I placed that, and I adapted the prices a bit. I also adapted the prices because in the I'm quickly going to start over. In the mod file of the placeable sell point, you can adjust the price scale, which is basically a percentage that you can change. Whereas in the XML file of the map, you can change the price for the field type, which is a base price of which it calculates its fluctuations. So those were adjusted to realistic numbers. I have yet to sell everything from the silo again to see how much money I would get now for the entire silo, but I'm going to assume it's much less than it was than the 17 million. So right now I'm in the northwestern corner of the map, and I will drive down to the road and use the roads to go all the way to the southeast corner of the map. I will time it. I will show you guys in a time lapse. I set my cruise control to 75 kilometers per hour, and I will let you know how long it takes to drive this distance. I will try to drive properly so that I can actually show you in a time lapse and I don't go crashing into all sorts of objects and ditches and what else. So here we go. So as you guys can see, we have now arrived in the southeast corner of the map. I took the roads. Just in the end, I've been twisting and turning a little bit because I didn't exactly know all the paths and I couldn't really see it on the minimap. So yeah, for those of you who followed the time on the HUD, you know how long I did. But for those who didn't check, it's 13 minutes to drive from one side to the other side at 75 kilometers per hour. So that's almost 15 minutes, almost a quarter. So yeah, it's crazy how big this map is. Before I got into that, I was telling you about how I changed the prices in the XML. That also left me with a small problem. I don't know how that came to be, but as you can see here, I ended up with some negative prices. Also for coffee somewhere. Coffee, I have a negative price. There was one earlier for hemp, but now it seems that it's positive. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea why this happens. All I did was change the base value from 1 point, I don't remember exactly the amount, but it was like 1.4 or 1.5 to 0. Talking about coffee, where is it? 0.22. So it is lower, but it should still be a positive value, especially since it gives like 742 for another sell point. Then why does it give a minus value in the others? That's what I don't understand. But we will see how things evolve with that. I'm sorry to you guys if this video seems a bit messy. I've been fooling around a lot. I've been talking while improvising basically because I didn't really script this video. So it's just, rambling as I go. I think I'm going to stop for now, and if you guys have any questions, just pop them in the comments. I will try to comment or reply there, or maybe even do another video with all the answers to the questions that were posted. I'm going to stop annoying you now, so I'll see you guys for the next episode, in which we will be transporting the goods from the produce from the silo to the sell point. I'll see you guys later and have a nice day.